So last week I did something that my parents thought was crazy, amongst others. I quit my 120 grand a year job. And I'm going to break down in this video the reasons why I did it, but more importantly, probably how I did it and how my investments have enabled me to do that. So let's get into it. So firstly, diving into it, why did I do it? I've been in a very similar career now, working my way up the slippery slope for probably 20 years or so, getting to a pretty senior position, earning what is definitely very good money. But getting less and less fulfilled with that job, but also getting very conflicted. I'm a parent, I've got 2 kids now, I've got a wife, and I just felt like there was more to life than, flogging myself into the ground for somebody else's dream and building somebody else's company. I work in a sales environment, and doing that for this year takes its toll. I had hair when I started out in sales, and as you can see, that's long since gone. So that was the big reason. I wanted to spend more time with kids. I wanted to pick my kids up from school. We recently come back from a family holiday, and the kids are 3 and 5, and they're growing up very, very quickly. That might not sound old, but to think my little girl is going to be 6 in the next kind of 3 months is pretty scary. And I read a stat where, up until the age of 12, you spend something like 80% of the time you ever will with your kids. And that dawned on me because I'm halfway there. So a big driver is to spend more time with them, but not just any time, to be more present, more quality time with the kids and my wife, and focus on the things that really care, really matter. And to me now in my walk of life, that isn't money. But it's also to do more things that I enjoy and that I like. This project, if you like, of YouTube is one of those, but there's many other projects that I want to start and I want to get running with. Things that really get me out of bed in the morning, I enjoy doing. I want to spend time with people that I like, and I want to do things that I enjoy. I'm 41 now, so I'm no spring chicken, and it's taken me this long to realize that, there's more to life. And that was the big driver and why I did it. But without my investments, I would never have been able to do it. My investments, I've been investing for around 10 years now, and they're at a point now, I'll create a video which you can see below, where my investments actually made more than me last year. That's after tax. So what I actually take home after the tax man's got me, my investments actually made more than me last year. And that was a big moment for me. It started to dawn on me that I can actually start to live on these investments. And I don't intend to live on my investments, so I'm hoping that I don't need to draw down money on the investments. I've come to the conclusion that I'm probably not going to add as much money as what I need to, but I don't really need to. Strict retirement age for me will be 57 at the earliest, when I can access my pensions. My ISAs, obviously, I can access a lot earlier, but rather than retiring now, I want to do things that I really enjoy, rather than retiring and putting the feet up. That's no longer the aim now. It's to do things that I enjoy and I want to do, and that's what I'm starting to do now with this walk of life. To give you some insight into the investments, so you know exactly what the numbers are I'm talking about. So my ISA is just over $250,000 that I have in my ISA now, which is a crazy number. It's majority of which is in the Vanguard All Cap World Global Index Fund. Like I say, I've been adding to that for the best part of a decade now, and my pension has rough numbers, well over £150,000, so I'm over 400,000. I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head. Just not touching that for the next 16 years or so, with a decent rate of return, 10% average that the stock market's returned, or the S&P 500. I should be close to £1 million in 16 years, so I don't need any more than that in my pension, and the hope is that I don't need to draw down on my ISA, certainly for the next 4 or 5 years. And what I am going to do is work for myself. So little projects like this, but also doing what I did before in a consultancy capacity, but not a 9 till 5. It's funny, I've been having a lot of conversations with people about projects and doing some work with them, and they're all talking about more. How are you going to get more work, Stu? How are you going to scale this? How are you going to bring people in? And I tell them I don't want to. I actually don't want to work full time anymore. I don't want to work 5 days a week. An ideal scenario for me here is to work 3 days a week, kind of 9 o'clock till 3 o'clock. And hopefully that'll earn enough money for me to survive. There's some other things that I've done. Some people might call this crazy, but I've actually increased the term of my mortgage to reduce the payment. My mortgage was quite aggressive in terms of it should be clear in around 9 to 10 years. I've actually extended that term now to 20 years, which is pretty much halved the cost of the mortgage. So I've got that buffer zone. I can overpay on the mortgage. I can overpay 10% of the value or the outstanding balance on the mortgage every year. So I intend to do that if I can afford to, but I'm being very conservative here by trying to limit how much my monthly outgoings are. That's one of the big things that I've done and one of the changes. I've also stopped investing for now, so I won't have a pension provider. Previously, I had an employer match. I put 5% in and my employer put 5% in. Obviously, that's gone overnight. I hopefully will still be contributing to my pension, but I'm not too concerned. You know, people talk about coast-fi. The hard work that I've done over the last decade should see me well anyway. You know, hopefully that continues to compound and grow in the next 10 years. And that should still be a really healthy amount come 57 when I can access it. And that's the big consideration now. What I need to do is bridge the gaps between the different pots that I can access. So right now, I can get my consultancy work, which will hopefully be enough for us to survive and pay all of the bills and have a decent standard of living. Anything above that will go back into contributions, ISA, pension, we'll start to get those. And then at 57, like I say, I can access my pension. So now really I just need to get enough to survive. And I've calculated that about £2,000 a month. So that includes the bills, the pensions. It does not include my wife's salary as well. My wife works part-time, she works 2 days a week and gets probably £1,200. So between us, around £3,000 a month is what we need to pay all the bills, survive and bring up 2 kids. There might be some big expenses that come out of there. We have an emergency fund, if you like, of cash. So we have a cash fund that we have around £20,000, which we can draw down if we need to, or alternatively, we can access the ISAs. You know, that money is there. It's easy to access, and I very well might do that. I want to really invest in experiences now and things that I can do with the girls while they're young. So we've just come back from Disneyland, which was a fantastic family holiday, but probably cost the best part of 12 grand. It's not unlikely that I need to draw down on the ISA to do things like that in the coming years, and I absolutely will do that. But there's no big purchases like cars or anything planned, so hopefully it's just the bills and, you know, the odd washing machine or things that crop up as and when they do. So that's really it. I'm going to document this all on the channel, both from an investing point of view, but also maybe flying solo and going out on my own. It's a pretty scary thing after having employment for 20 years and always having that paycheck come in. So it's a little bit nerve-wracking, not going to lie. But I've been quite fortunate. I've managed to secure, fingers crossed, a couple of projects already, which would probably take me close to 50-60% of what my salary was. And, you know, that will sustain me. That is not long-term, though. Those projects are time-stamped, so they won't go on forever. But I intend to document all this as I go along. So if you're interested in finding out a bit about how I go self-employed, how my investments continue to be added to or not, then subscribe and I'll share everything. Hopefully you'll see I'm quite honest, simple, straightforward kind of guy. So I intend to share everything with you. I'm going to be really transparent in the hope of inspiring somebody else. I really want to get more from life. I want to spend more time with my kids. I want to be present and I want to do it now before it's too late. You know, one of the big regrets of older people, and you know, that book by Bonnie, the nurse, I forget her name, The Regrets of the Dying, is that they didn't spend enough time with the people that they love. And I won't get these years back with my kids. So I'm really, really motivated to spend as much time and enjoy life as I can while I can, because, you know, we aren't promised tomorrow. So I'm ranting and waffling a little bit. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. There's going to be some regular videos coming out if this interests you, and see you on the next one.